switch there from Blundell as he negotiates this 2-mile D-shaped oval. James Allen, what have you got on your countryman?
Well, he's doing really well. As I mentioned before, he's been helped a lot by being out of pit stop sequence, and that certainly got him into that high position in the first place. Remind you, of course, he's only using the Ford XB engine, not the XD, so he's doing real well to live with Greg Moore and, of course, all of the Hondas as well. But really, the story of the weekend for Mark Blundell is the tough psychological battle he's had to undergo to bounce back from that huge 195-mile-an-hour accident, almost head-on into a wall at Rio de Janeiro. A man who's not at all used to racing on ovals, a European road racer if ever there was one, and he's been longing for a road course, but here he is at Michigan, and he's really running well. Very, very good news.
In fact, Mark Blundell figured to be strong on the road courses. He has missed both of the street circuit races held thus far, those in Surfers Paradise, Australia, and in Long Beach, California, due to his injuries. His first 4 races have all been on ovals.
We see Ribero's now past DeFerran, up into 6th spot, so he's making his march back through the field. He needs to get back up the front to chase the target cars of Zanardi and Vassar.
Right now he runs about 7.5 seconds behind the race leader Zanardi. Watch from DeFran's cockpit.
You see the buffeting that was coming along by watching Gilles DeFerran's helmet move around inside the cockpit. That's just getting a little bit of disturbed air coming off the car up in front.
Now DeFerran,
he's slowing.
He is down low and just entering the pit lane, and that is not good news.
Only 15 laps since the last fuel stop and pit stop, so certainly that won't be the call here.
The team has tires in the pit lane. We're taking a look at the pop-off valve, which rises out of the rear cowling, the rear bodywork on that car, down to Marty Reed.
They have blown the pop-off valve gasket, so they have got to get in there and fix it, because otherwise he's just not going to get any boost pressure whatsoever. This is extremely costly. This is going to take all their chances for victory away. What a disappointment. This team had really busted chops just to make the start, or actually the restart of this race.
You see Alex Herring, team manager on the far side, vastly experienced. We have yellow all the way around. We understand it is for fluid on the racetrack from Jeff Krosnoff's Arciero Wells Reynard Toyota. There you see him making his way to the pits. We'll have another yellow flag and another restart. We'll be back with more live coverage as Krosnoff puts the steering wheel on the cowling. It appears that his race is run as well. We'll be back. Alex Zanardi as the safety cars are on the track, and there is Jeff Krosnoff's Reynard with Toyota power being towed behind the wall. His day is done, and he's standing by with James Allen.
Jeff, I guess you got mixed feelings of most race laps you've completed, but the fluid down the track from a fairly seriously blown engine.
Well, I hope I didn't mess it up too badly for everyone else. Yeah, everything was running well. Our pit stops were good. We were just running our own race. You know, we weren't looking for a win. We were going to finish the race and put some more miles on this engine, and it ran well all day, and it just like go unexpectedly, which is just part of the normal development of a brand new motor like Toyota.
The learning curve for Toyota continues. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Jeff Krosnoff from La Cañada, California. His shot at $1 million at the US 500 is now gone. There's Al Unser Jr. undergoing service in the Penske pits. 96 Penske Mercedes-Benz and Marlboro colors, the most recognized trademark in the world. Right now, let's go to ESPN Central for this update from Brett Haber. Brett, take it away.
Okay, Bob, thanks very much. As the cars come into pit, change rubber, and get themselves together, we are going to take this opportunity to take a break. When we come back, we'll update you on some of the sports news of the day and some highlights from around the major leagues and around the playoffs in the NBA and NHL right after this.
100 continues. Bob Varsha along with Scott Goodyear. A tremendous crash brought out a red flag before the race ever got underway. But backup cars were brought out of the garages, the field reformed, and the race is now running once again. We've had plenty of lead changes, lots of action, new pit rules. Due to time constraints, we'll pick up the action later in the event when we return to Michigan International Speedway for more of the US 500. That's Parker moving ahead in the upper line, the high groove, the lead lap cars, as we prepare for a restart this time around. There you see Parker Johnstone, who's had such a fraught season thus far with 2 or 3 big crashes. But they have their car in the lead at the US 500, and here's Jan Bikus.
Just a quick update on Parker Johnstone before we go back to green. The crew here, for a few moments anyway, was incensed because they said, why is Moore in front of us? He should have a penalty. They were screaming they wanted to have the lead. And then all of a sudden, all their tempers calmed down. They said, okay, they are going to assess a penalty. Now there's a lot of big smiles down here in the Bricks Comtech team.
I'll bet Doug Peterson and Don Erb, who have raced with Parker Johnstone for many, many years in IMSA sports car competition. He is the winningest driver in that series history with 54 total wins. Now they are an IndyCar team, and Parker Johnstone leads away as they return to the flag stand where Jim Swintoll waves the green, and Parker Johnstone leads them down into turn 1 once again.
Parker finding himself in familiar territory, obviously leading this event last year before a problem put him out. Probably one of the teams that have done more miles of testing here at Michigan last year, a combination of this year, than anybody else.
Michigan is a place that has produced a number of first-time winners over the year. Emerson Fittipaldi, his first win came in a 500-miler here back in 1985. Who is this? Scott Goodyear, I believe, also won a 500-miler here for his first IndyCar win. John Paul Jr. back in 1983, and Scott Pruitt last year.
A bit of shuffling now. Parker Johnstone followed by Ribeiro, Brian Herta. Brian's been a little bit quiet after a couple of problems about mid-race, but he's just sitting there, always ready to pounce.
Look at the Shell Reynard Mercedes-Benz on Goodyear tires for Bobby Rahal and David Letterman's team. Going up high. The cars exit turn 4 very high, right up by the wall, for diving down across the banked start-finish straightaway. We might even call it a dog leg, as we often see in tri-ovals elsewhere in the country. Now on the back stretch, the two Ganassi cars. Vassar and Zanardi now shown in 4th and 5th positions following those somewhat balky pit stops they just experienced.
Vassar having a peek on the underside of Herta, and a great run for both the target cars here. Zanardi trying to get somewhere in the center. Now he's going to take the low line.
That was close. Oh, man, I think maybe Zanardi just misjudged the room he had ahead of his teammates Gearbach as he came rushing up from behind. Simply had nowhere to go, and Vassar's pass on Herta kind of stalled out when they were alongside one another.
Well, the key thing there, I think, too, is that he's the 3rd guy in the tow, and he's going to start to get that big rush of speed. As we see, looks like he's going to slip right underneath Vassar now, and Vassar is going to take the low line and catch on behind Zanardi. Now they're coming up behind DeFerran, who unfortunately was right there in the hunt of everything until he lost 4 or 5 laps in the pits.
Boy, I'll bet that raised the pulse rates in the Ganassi pits. As you see, Zanardi going right by DeFerran, and now here comes Jimmy Vassar. Zanardi up into the 3rd spot behind Parker Johnstone and Andre Ribeiro. And there once again, looking back from the Pennzoil car of DeFerran, Jimmy Vassar poking his nose up the outside now.
Now don't forget, in the pits they have the monitors just like we're seeing right now, like you're seeing at home. Chip Ganassi, Joe Montana are watching their guys do battle on the racetrack, watching the same view as you and I.
Vassar completes the pass. Meanwhile, there is Ribeiro with the bright day-glow yellow nose, and Zanardi now taking a shot at him. Tremendous speed from these Reynard Honda Firestone combinations for Chip Ganassi's team, Zanardi and Vassar.
And we saw there, look how low those guys are going. They're down below the white line. That is pretty impressive. You think the lower that you go, the more G's you're going to put on the car. The grip these cars are making with the downforce, also with the Firestone tires, is incredible. Also, the last lap, 232 miles an hour. That's qualifying speed, Bob.
Absolutely. Zanardi just flying around this racetrack. Jan, what's going on?
Well, Zanardi is fine, but Ribeiro is having some handling problems. And think also that the Tasman team decided to go with the primary tires, which is a little bit harder. Vassar now is going to take advantage of the fact that he's on the softer option Firestones. Both those two cars you just saw are on Firestones, but the option being grippier in this cooler weather seems really to be playing now to the speed.
And I think that's the key element, Ron, is the cooler weather. It's like 5:30 in the afternoon right now, and the temperature is probably going down a little bit. You can see people in the stands starting to put jackets on. The key thing, if you're on those optional tires, is probably what you want right now. We've got an engine smoking. It looks like one of the target cars.
Zanardi has lost the engine.
And that is a rarity for a Honda engine, but I think we saw that those guys were running laps at 232 miles per hour.
And that will bring out the yellow once again. Zanardi got it down low on the racetrack very quickly. But the safety crews are going to go out and have a look as he pulls the car onto the grass. The 500 miles have taken another toll. There's Chip Ganassi on the right, Mo Nunn on the left. Sort of a rueful smile from Chip Ganassi. He's been there a long time, seen the good and the bad in the sport. The guys ran it hard, and look at the amount of smoke he sends wafting up. And you won't find a mosquito here at Michigan International for a couple of weeks. That's that, I think he said. So Alex Zanardi learns the hard lessons of running 500 miles here at Michigan. He is out of the car. Meanwhile, Parker Johnstone, also running with Honda Power, also in a Reynard chassis, leads away. We'll be back for more from Michigan. The US 500 continues. Under a yellow flag, and here is why. The red car second in line, Sandro Zanardi, had a Honda engine let go in a very big way.
And that's very surprising because Honda's really been on the forefront of not only the horsepower but the longevity, being able to run many miles at high speeds. But I think, as we heard about before, 232 miles an hour for those last few laps. Probably a little bit quick here with too many more miles to go.
What's it like to be coming up behind an engine explosion like that? There you see it up ahead of Christian Fittipaldi, and watch how the haze lingers. Now
Somebody's slowing down, and he's just taking. Oh, God, was so close with Greg Miller. So close.
Oh, my. We almost had a much more serious incident. Jan Bikas.
Chip Ganassi was one of those that had the opportunity, unfortunately for you, to see all that smoke as it went by. Any indication from anyone that there was a problem prior to that?
Well, we did have an indication, Jan. The problem was we had about a 3-second notice that we lost oil pressure, and I mean, there was nothing you could do about it.
But you still have another car in the field, so you can still have a smile knowing that. And also, Jimmy Vasser, the first thing he did was call in and say what great racing that was and congratulated this side of the team.
No question. I think Alex had him covered today, and I'll tell you, this has to be the major disappointment of the season so far. Hopefully we got, I don't know, about 60 laps to go. We can make something of it here. We got another car.
All right, Jimmy Vasser seems almost as fast. We'll see what he can salvage for this man, Chip Ganassi.
It has been pretty much a Ganassi team week, or a couple of weeks here at Michigan. Vasser on pole. Zanardi led much of the day. We'll be back. Vasser runs second to Parker Johnstone. He shot at a possible $1 million here at the inaugural US 500. Those shots coming from the Bud 1 airship and its eye in the sky camera, proud to provide you pictures from more than 1,000 feet above Michigan International Speedway, and we are very glad to have them. We'll be back to talk with Alex Zanardi about his continuing frustration, perhaps the fastest man in IndyCar who has yet to score significantly in a race. The young Italian, however, has a big future. We'll be back in a moment. On the track with the field in tow. We are under our 9th caution of the day here at the US 500. The record for caution flags in a 500-mile race here at Michigan International, 13, set in 1985 when Emerson Fittipaldi started 19th and finished first in the Marlboro 500 for his first IndyCar win. Down to Jan Bikas in the pits.
Well, Alex Zanardi now has had the first smile that we've seen since he got here. I know that's awfully tough for you emotionally. You had this race covered. Chip Ganassi just told us that you guys had the best car, the best driver. What are your emotions right now?
Well, it's the end of a wonderful dream. I was sure that today was my day, but apparently it wasn't. And it's really bad to wake up from a wonderful dream like it was in that way. But this is racing. I mean, I'm happy because we proved that we are a wonderful team. The old Target Ganassi Racing did a wonderful job. I had a beautiful car. I'm very happy because in the last 2 weeks, I've been able to think about what we did, and I came back much stronger. I had the possibility to give the right information to make myself the best car, and I was driving very well. Didn't last till the end.
All right, well, you have an opportunity now to watch the other Target Ganassi, Jimmy Vasser, try and take it home for you guys. Thank you, Alex. Let's get down to James Allen.
Mark Blundell currently running now in 3rd place, basically because he's mastered the art of drafting, according to the team. Simply on power terms, he shouldn't be anywhere near where he is at the moment, but he's running strong because he's learnt that. But he had a